is up, guys? Mr. G here with another episode of Mr. G's Math Videos. Today, we've got something exciting. We are going to be learning how to multiply decimals on a hundreds grid. Now, this is going to be part one in a three-part series. We're going to be focusing on just whole numbers times a decimal. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So we're going to be multiplying decimals using a hundreds grid. Now, one thing to remember, a decimal is part of a whole. So whenever we're multiplying a whole number by a decimal, we will be getting a smaller decimal for our product. Okay. And another thing I want to remind you, when we're working with decimals, our base 10 blocks have a little bit different meaning. So a flat is now worth one whole. So if I fill in a whole grid, all I've made is 1. A rod is worth 1/10. It takes 10 of these rods to make one whole. And then finally, our little squares, these are called minis. They are worth 1/100th. There are 100 hundredths in a flat or a whole. So one of them is just worth 1/100th, similar to what a penny is in money. All right, let's take a look at our first problem. We have 4 times 0.2. Okay, now when we look at this, we don't want to really just think 4 times 0.2, but we want to think about it like this: 4 groups of 0.2 or 2/10. I have 4 groups of 2/10. So let me model that for you on our hundreds grid. So since I have 4 groups of 2/10, I'm going to go ahead and show you one group of 2/10, 2 groups of 2/10, 3 groups of 2/10, and finally 4 groups of 2/10. So now all I have to do is count the total amount of tenths that I have shaded in. Well, I have 2/10 that are not shaded in, so that makes my total 8/10 or 80 hundredths that are shaded in on my grid, and that is my answer. 4 times 2/10 is 8/10. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at another example. 3 times 15 hundredths. So again, I really want to train my brain to say 3 groups of 15 hundredths. So since I have 3 groups, I'm going to be using 3 different colors, and each color I'm going to shade in 15 hundredths. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Here's one group of 15 hundredths, 2 groups of 15 hundredths, and finally 3 groups of 15 hundredths. So now I just have to count what I have. Well, I know I have 4 complete tenths, so that's 40 hundredths. And then over here, I have 5 extra hundredths shaded in. So if I were to combine those, 40 hundredths plus 5 hundredths, I would get 45 hundredths. So 3 groups of 15 hundredths equals 45 hundredths. All right, last problem that I am going to show you today. So just again, remember, decimal is part of a whole number. When we are multiplying whole numbers by decimals, we are going to be getting smaller numbers. Here's our base 10 blocks and what they represent. And here's our last problem that we're going to look at today. 3 times 6/10. But I'm going to train my brain to say 3 groups of 6/10. 3 groups of 6/10. So I'm going to be using 3 different colors, and each color is going to be representing 6/10 on my hundreds grid. All right, let's take a look at how I did it. Here is one group of 6/10. And now notice when I go to make my second group, I only can fit 4/10 in this base, in this flat. I have to go to another flat. I have to use another hundreds grid and finish doing 6/10. So I need 2/10 more. And then I'm going to do one final group of 6/10. So now that you can see, I have 3 groups of 6/10. I have filled in one whole grid. So since I filled in that one whole grid, it's just worth 1. Now in the second grid, I didn't fill all of it. I only filled part of it. I only filled 8/10. So I have a whole number and I have a decimal. I will need to put that together to create my answer. 1 whole plus 8/10 gives me 1 8/10, or 1.8. So sometimes we will need to use a second grid in order to solve our problem, and that's okay. All right, that is going to be it. That is how we use decimal grids to show multiplication of whole numbers times decimals. I appreciate you guys watching. If you want to practice this skill, you can go to our Canvas page and download your own decimal grids page. There's a link there. And then just create your own problems using whole numbers times decimals. Now make sure your decimals are to the tenths or hundredths. You can use this strategy for both tenths and hundredths times whole numbers. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so you were able to get notifications when new videos are released, so you're able to watch them and practice these skills at home. All right, guys, that is going to do it for me. I appreciate everybody spending their time watching this. Until next time, Manta Rays, keep on mathin'.